Hey, this is going to be part two of missing military weapons. It was just so much to digest in that first article. I decided to break it down a little bit because I'm just trying to wrap my head around this whole situation here. Again, normally they alluded to it for a second here. When new people come to the unit, please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get somewhere. Help me get there so I can continue to deliver this information. But again, when you normally join a unit, because again, I back in the early '90s, I was an army in my unit out in Fort Bragg, and so they're going to get a E3, preferably an E4 that's squared away. They don't have to worry about him going out to sell weapons. Unfortunately, something happened. We went awry somewhere here. I'm trying to find where I want to start it. Discrepancy. That's not the article I want. That one. Inside. This one talks about inside. I'll hit the insider threat. And I'll hit the other one in a second here. Insider threat. This I highlighted on this thing here. The people with the easiest access to military firearms are those who handle and secure them. In the Army, there are often junior soldiers assigned to the armories or arms rooms, according to this Colonel, Director of Supply, G4 Logistics. This is a young girl or guy. It's normally the first tour of duty, and they put great responsibility because they see this person as a leader. They want to let them grow a little bit, give them some responsibilities, increase their responsibilities. And plus, you're on call 24 hours a day. That's what I remember. Being on call 24 hours a day, and then whatever you're doing, make sure you plan and make sure you're always available. So I understood that. Armors have access to both firearms and what just happened to my okay. And they were saying armors have access to the arms room. I'll just read it ahead of time. Armors have access to arms room all times of the day and night because there's a certain code you have to go in there. And of course, when you go in there, there's a certain you put the code in, it alerts the alarm goes off and alerts some other people, and it, you got a list of access roster who can go in by themselves. You know, the commander, first sergeant, maybe sergeant major, some other people. But um, but yeah, so it's a pretty controlled method of who goes in and out. Now, one problem could be is um, the weapons are not making it to that destination. So somebody in another location can be ordering certain things, but it's a budget. It's always a check and balance with the military, which is what I love about it. Even regulations, somebody doing something they're wrong and they outrank you, you go get that regulation, you show it to them, and they just pretty much have to conform at that time, or they can find themselves in deep kimchi or deep trouble. All right. Let me go back to I was starting with the insider threat. Insider threat: the people with the easy access to military firearms are those who handle and secure them. Let me scroll down here. In 2014, NCIS began investigating the theft of weapons as part of a special boat, Team 12, a Navy unit based in Coronado, California. Four M4 trigger assemblies that could make a civilian AR-15 fully automatic were missing. Investigators found an Army inventory manager was manipulating electronic records by moving items or claiming they had been transferred through the property book. The parts were never recovered, and the case was closed after federal prosecutors declined to file charges. Wow. Weapons accountability is a part of a military routine. Armor's supposed to check weapons when they open each day. Sight counts, a visual total of weapons on hand are drilled into troops, whether they're in the field, on patrol, or in the arms room. But as long as there have been armories, people have been stealing from them. I never realized that. Weapons enter the public three main ways: direct sale from thieves to buyers, to pawn shops or surplus stores, and online. So, at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, soldiers stole machine gun parts and other items that ended up online buyers in Russia, China, Mexico, and elsewhere. The civilian ringleader who was found with a warehouse of items was convicted. Authorities said he made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Often, though, recovering a weapon it's been proven pretty hard to do. Wow, this is insane. All right. Pentagon officials said that approximately 100 firearms were accounted for in both 2019 and 18. A majority of those were attributable to accident or combat losses, they said. Even though AP's totally excluded accidents of combat losses, whenever known, it was higher than what they were reporting, of course. It's, again, the accountability. We get something called an NCOER, non-commissioned officer evaluation report. And every year, so there was somebody, somebody has to go down there and look at those weapons. And remember, I'm gonna give you a little meat on the bone here. There's a 10% inventory every month. So end of the year, guess what? You got 120% inventory of all your weapons. So I don't know when this thing started, but it's a breakdown somewhere with just the leadership and understanding what the job is and what they're accountable for. I love to say the OERs, product of my day, walk on water, and these NCOERs, they walk on water. But since 2010, there's been a breakdown in just simple accountability. Not only accountability for weapons, but also accountability for personnel. As we see what happened to Vanessa Guillen, they looked for her. They didn't even look for this young lady. They didn't even look for her. Her family came and started looking for her. Again, there needs to be a serious investigation from Congress into the accountability of weapons and also how we are losing people that's raising their hand to defend this country, how we're losing them in training accidents unnecessarily. That's a problem. That's problematic. We need to figure that thing out, find a solution and fix it. Because anyone raise their hand to defend this country, they should be protected. Whether it's a male or female, it doesn't matter. And we also should make sure taxpayers are spending money in this country should make sure the money they're spending is not going there. The items they're purchasing are not going back out directly to the neighborhood to kill the same. That might end up killing them. Which is what happens. So it's a lot to unpack. And just the breakdown in leadership is number one, education number two, and follow up number three. So those things need to happen simultaneously. We need stronger leadership, not bully leadership, stronger leadership to be held accountable. You know, get back to 10%, doing 10% inventory a month. Uh, I did it as a senior non-commissioned officer. I would go do it for the captain, let him know it is. If I couldn't find something, I'd highlight it. I'd go back, put a number by it. You have to be very diligent because you can always overlook something, but you go back and do 10 checks to make sure, you saw this weapon, I saw this vehicle, I saw this radio, I've seen this piece of clothing. It's laid out for you. How do you mess that up? And with something like a weapon, that's a quote unquote sensitive item. So now we're losing sensitive items. True story. I remember being at Fort Bragg again. Excuse me. A young enlisted PFC out there, maybe four. We field artillery. We moving around in pot around 12 or 2 in the morning, something like that. And we did an early morning move, maybe at 2 or 3 o'clock. And we lost, somebody in our group. Our battery lost the NVGs. And when back then we used to dig holes, and we get in there and create a fire position. So gonna find out we got to the position. Our NCOs go around, they'll check who got the NVGs, who got this, who got that. Find out we don't have NVGs. So we had to go back to dig up those holes, find those holes. Somebody might have had intentions on stealing those NVGs. I never know. I was young coming into it, trying to figure everything out. I just know when it's a sensitive item, and though I don't know they're sensitive items now, I know they were then. But yeah, we had to go back and dig the hole up. We found those NVGs because there have been other instances where people lose a weapon in the field. Guess what? You don't go back to the rear. You don't go back to the rear. We stand out here to find this weapon, and you hope Slicky Boy didn't jump over a fence and get it and leave. So I don't know. These units are very laxed. It just need to be a simple accountability, simple leadership. just simple, or not regulations, but simple tasks, simple just accountability. Your weapon. I mean, come on, really? I can't believe we losing weapons now. That was unheard of in my time. But maybe it's why it was time for me to get out of there. Anyway, do me a favor, man. Hit that subscribe button. I love you. Take care. Have a great day.